And so the shtickle, it's a little bit of a hemshech to last week. We learned we got into the shayla. Are you yitza on dafka if you light in your house, or if you light in shul or in the street? Are you also yitza adlakas neiros? So people were mad that they wanted to see the Gemara. so yeah, there's some other geschmack chakiris that I didn't get into. So the first thing,
people were asking they were by a wedding that night, and I'm assuming it starts early enough, the chuppah and everything. So the light, the passion is they're going to light by the wedding, whoever is making the wedding. But what are you supposed to do? Imagine you come home and you light, later on.
They're getting married on Chanukah.
Huh?
They're getting married on Chanukah.
You can be yaitz when the shul says.
So the Rivash says you can't.
The Rivash says no?
Yeah. In Shulchan Aruch, and that's the Psak in Shulchan Aruch, you're not yaitz on shul. So see. So the Gemara, let's read the Gemara. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, mitzvahs Chanukah, ner ishu beisei. So Chanukah is one candle for a person in his house. V'hamahadin, ner l'chol echad ve'echad. A ner for each one. V'hamahadin min hamahadin. Beishama imim yem rishain madik shmeina. First night you light 8. Mikan ve'edich peches v'hedich. Then you go downwards. Beisol imim yem rishain madik achas. Mikan ve'edich meisi v'hedich. You start with one first night and then you go onwards.
Yeah.
Right, then we'll get to it later soon. The famous machlokes is about does everyone is that everyone lights one and then they add on, or is it just one person in the house? We'll get to that soon. The Gemara says, what's the reason the machlokes is Beisham Beisilo? Omar Ulo, Pligi Batrei Amirei B'Marova. In the might of this machlokes, what's the reason for Beisham Beisilo? Rabbi Yesi bar Avin, Rabbi Yesi bar Zvida, they both argued. Chad Omar, time of the Beisham Kenegi Yamim Hanichnasin. Beisham says you want to go Kenegi how many days are going to come. So therefore you start with the 8. The time of the Beis Hillel Kenegi Yamim Hayitzin. They go. You want to show how many days already came. Chad Omar, this person gave another reason for the argument. Time of the Beisham Kenegi Pari Hachag. That is connected to Pari HaChag. The time of the Beis Hillel is the Ma'alim HaKodesh Ve'im Meridin. You have to go higher. You can't go lower in Kodesh. So,
Pari HaChag, Sukkos.
What? Yeah, the Karbanis. The Karbanis is Sukkos. You start, yeah. So you go downwards. The question.
You learn that my Oh, you mean the Pari HaChag?
So what's it going to do with Chanukah?
So first question is, what's the shaykhs? Why you're asking the Pari HaChag?
Yeah.
So I guess for Pashas you could say that you find the Makar in Torah. Torah says such a thing. Derech Klal is Hakamayim Meimeritin, but Torah tells you to do Eifin in a different Eifin. So you have a Makar in Torah that you could do it. So certainly find it's okay. But the Pnei Yeshua is Masber more Geshmak. He says that that's some time why Beishamai says he connected Pari HaChag. That's not the Iker. That's not his Iker reason. His Iker reason, he says, there's a famous Shaila. What was the nace with the Pach Hashem? How did it work? What happened there? Did the oil stay full? Did it not empty out? Did the jug not empty at all? Or did the oil not burn out? So one of the explanations Beis Yosef gives is that only 1/8 of the jug, really it should have emptied out the whole jug, but only 1/8 of it got used the first night. So according to this, so when did the main nest happen? You saw the nest. The main nest was the first night. The first night.
Isn't there a machlokes of how they did it? Whether they poured in only an 1/8?
Yeah, there's a few. That's a huge machlokes.
Who says this?
The Pnei Yeshua quotes this answer from the Beis Yosef. He gives 3 different explanations what the nest was. According to Leifin, that the nest was only 1/8 of it was used. That's why, therefore, the Iker nest, he saw on the first night. You already saw the nest that only 1/8 was used, and the other nights is just another 1/8 being used. But the Iker nest you saw on the first night. The Iker nest you saw on the first night. So therefore, Beishamai says that since on the first night you already saw the nest for the next 8 days, therefore you start with the 8 and you go downwards. Just like by the oil. The oil first they had all 8, and then use another bit.
How many lights to light?
It only took 1/8 of it, so they knew that there was going to be enough for another 7 days.
Why don't you for
So therefore, why go focus?
What? So therefore, Beis Shammai says because this is how the nest was. The nest was in a way that already on the first night you saw what was going to be left over. You already saw the whole nest on the first night for the next 7 days. Therefore, lechatchila on the 8th night, on the first night, you light all 8, and then you go downwards and lower, and you lower and lower. So why does he say pari hachag? You might ask a question. So he brings you a makar and tell you that there could be an inyan peiches v'heder. There is an inyan peiches v'heder from Torah also.
Why did they have to make a 8? Why did they have to on the 8?
They poured it and only an 8 came out. They filled up the whole thing.
They poured the 8. They calculated. They poured the 8. Same kamalas. How would that have to do?
So there's 100 shayla. Yeah. It's. The base case gives 3 different tirutzim, and besides for that, I think there's a sefer which gives a whole different list of tirutzim. But that's
So we should stop running now.
So this is just like Abi the Prat. If you are asking what's the shaykhs of Pari Achag to Chanukah. So the way.
You mean to say that before they took the oil, they measured it?
No, they didn't measure it, but when they were pouring it out, they saw how much came. They saw only 1/8 of the jug was used.
They were Messiah, whatever.
I think they saw it was only.
You know how much?
Maybe it was 7 days.
Oh no, because they knew that's how long it's going to take to get more oil. That the whole 8-day thing was because that's how long it would take them to get more oil.
So the same day when they knew already they had a nest for 8 days?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's different days.
All right.
Fine, so this is... Fine, so that's...
You can give them whatever you want.
So we said, so we have... Fine, so that's the Gemara. So now So the Rivash is medayik from the Gemara. The Gemara says mitzvahs Chanukah ner ishu beisay. It says that he's medayik from those words that you have to light menorah dafka in your house. You're not yaitz in the shul. The second Ramakin says mikol makim beisad lach shal beisak knesses ein adam yitzid ba v'tzarich lachzach lika kol echad bebeisay. The mitzvahs Chanukah ner ishu beisay. The mitzvah is ner isha basis. He teaches ner isha basis. It has not only it's not only saying that it's one is enough for your entire family. It has to be in your house. You can't light other places. So, but the question is, where does he get this from? How do you see this in the Gemara?
He's touching Beisay house, not wife.
But Pasha's Beisay means that the family.
Ishtay is basic. Ishtay is basic.
Right, but who says that means you can't be yaitz in the shul because there's not Isha Beisay? That means he's touching Beisay house.
Housewife, same thing. The wife's not in shul by mincha.
So Bepashta's right. So Bepashta's Beisay means your family.
Family. In this case,
Bepashta's means your family.
It means that you can't light in shul.
In this case, it means you must do it in your house.
Bepashta's means your family. Bepashta's means your family. But the Beisay says the Rivash is taking another front that it has to be dafka in your house. The question is, where is he getting this from? So some Acharim brought up a Chakira, which might help us understand the Rivash. The Pnei Yeshua, he has a shayla. What's the? We always say mitzvah ba'yismi b'shluchai. How come over here we're saying that the one person is enough for everyone else? Everyone should do it. Why is only mahadrin that everyone does to themselves? We always say mitzvah ba'yismi b'shluchai. So in third Maramakim he says. Near the mashan ishtan mitzvah zu mishar mitzvahs shehin choivas haguf. Shahaya chiv akol yachid that every chiv on the guf every person has to do it himself. The kaimala nami and kedushin that mitzvah ba yismi b'shluchai. So how come over here only the mahadrin we say everyone lights for themselves? We always say mitzvah ba yismi b'shluchai. Why? What's different over here? It says ela dashani hachasha ein hacha ikar hamitzvah ela b'samach rishus harabim. Over here the ikar mitzvah is to light it next to rishus harabim. Shum mishum persumi nisa. And therefore, since the whole thing is Mishum Bersumi Nisan, they made this mitzvah ki iluhu choivas habayis. He said
in the basic Knesset, which usually was what puts that whatever it was in
was out of
the
town.
outskirts of the so you're not doing Pirsum Nissa in the ear, I guess.
Also, so
That's
he's
why you have to go dafka to home to make it, because then you're being going to the
he's bringing up a chakira. What is the mitzvah of Chanukah? Mitzvah of Chanukah is a choivas haguf or is a choivas habayis? It's a mitzvah in the house. He wants to say since the main idea is pursuing nisa, so one person does it, it's enough. Therefore, they made this mitzvah as if it's choivas habayis. Therefore, not everyone has to do it. There's no way to do it. Not everyone has to do it themselves. We don't say mitzvah b'yismei b'shulchin because it's a chayv on the bayis. It's not a chayv on the person. The fact that you're being yisr from someone else is not like he's being your shliach. It's a chayv on the bayis.
And even if the chayv on the group, you can't have somebody else from the
So some
kiddush. Wow. What's the kiddush? Chayv the group.
Right. So some of them. Yeah. So if you understand with this mahalach that it's choivas habayis, so you can understand a little bit the shuvas the Rivash says in Eretz and Shul, because it's a chayv on the bayis, meaning even though you live in Shul, but it's not just if it's choivas ha'adam that you have to like the so let's say you'll be Eretz and Shul, you'll be Eretz and Shul, but if it's choivas habayis, you can understand the Rivash a little bit more. Why dafka yaitz in your wives in your house? Because each house you have a chiv light menorah in your house. So chivas habayis. This fast emes goes.
That's what you said with both. No, you have to do it at home, and you have to be your 5 minutes of the mitzvah.
So what was bothering? So some Rishonim say that what's the reason we light in shul in order to be so people who don't have a candle. So the question is how does that fit with the Rivash? So some people want to say that there's two parts in Nisas Chanukah. One is that there's a personal Nisa, and then there's your individual chiyuv. So you're saying that's like there's a chivas habayis and there's a
two different mitzvahs, and they're obligated both.
Right. So Dain Raskin from England, he was saying that verse. He's saying according to what he writes, it comes out that there's two in Yanim. Right here. Yeah.
Then we have to bench at home, and we have to go to party.
That's the
solves the problem.
Yeah. That's the halachas.
Yeah. You gotta go out. You have to do both. That's it. This day and this.
So at the end of 3, so Gadayin, so it's all right.
So the Sfas Emes takes this chakir a little bit weiter, whether it's a chivas habayis or chivas ha'adam. He says in the fourth Ramabim, "V'nafka mina lefi hanal b'mahadrin," that he says, "Ikol echad matzi levarich." When you do the mitzvah in a mahadrin, some ikar adin you're yetzer with one person lighting. So we're being mahadr, everyone's lighting. So the shaila is, if you already yetzer, everyone's yetzer with the first one, how could everyone make a bracha? How could everyone make a bracha? The chayre yetzer with the first minute you're lighting. Everyone's going to make a bracha? How could he do that? So he says, the imitam shlichus. So if you're going to say, he says, what's the reason if it's a chivas adam, it's a chiva on the person, and the reason you're being yetzer from someone else is only because he's your shliach. So imkein hamhadin im chavin lahitzi. The people want to be mahadr, they want to light on their own, so they're not miskaven to be yetzer with this person. And that's why everyone's not allowed to make them a bracha, because they don't have a mind to be yetzer with him. But if you're going to tell me that it's chivas habayis, it's not chivas adam. If it's only chivas habayis, ve'ein tzarich kavana lahitzi, you don't need kavanah to be. You might see someone else in imkein al mitzvahs hider bavad ein yedea im rashi levarich. So if it's only you're only doing it a hider mitzvah, so I don't know if you're able to be. I don't know if you can make a bracha, because nikar din you already so with the first person making a bracha. This also help that you were miskaven to be yetzer, because the mitzvah is on the bayis, it's not on the person. So.
Oh, you're saying in the house now. Once the first person lights.
Yeah. So how is someone else to think? You can make a bracha on hider mitzvah. So if you're saying that it's a chivas ha'adam, you have your individual chiyuv. So I have in mind not to be yetzer with him, and I'm a chiyuv too. But if it's a chiv on the bayis, that the bayis needs to have a menorah lit. So
once the first person lights, that's it.
Yeah. So you say specific. Could you make a bracha on a hider mitzvah? Hagam de yishlem the kach tiknu that this even if you don't want to say you can make a bracha on a hider mitzvah, the kach tiknu, this was takan of chazal that you should do a mahadrin. V'gam zeh b'chlal ha-mitzvah, v'shaych al ha-bracha, after in mechuyev, mikol mokem, shaych b'tzivonu, kidem asin b'kam ezuchti. So you vereinfers a shtickle. So you vereinfers, you can tell that even if you don't want to say you can make a bracha hiddur mitzvah, but this hiddur is a part of takanas chachamim. Since they were saying do this hiddur, memela you can make a bracha on it. So these are different afkamis. Whether you talk about choivas ha'adam or if it's choivas habayis, the ner Chanukah.
You have a house and you don't live there. You have two houses. One you live in and one you don't live in. You have to live in one you don't live also.
I don't.
That's rolling better.
Good question.
So I don't remember. I think it's brought up in Shulchan Aruch. No, Mishum Chashad. So that's by two. If you have two pesach and two doors, it's Mishum Chashad.
If there's two psachim, it's a question. But if there's two houses in the one,
Because people say that I'm not a
the what?
The two psachim, one is the main pesach, one is the side pesach, back pesach.
Right.
So no
There's the din of Chashad.
that he doesn't have.
But I'm saying that's why if you have two houses, it's all the
Why
more
would
reason
somebody
to
say
say
that he didn't do it?
you should light it. If you have two different houses, all the more reason.
No. You got him to under my skin.
No, I want.
And that,
So I want to know why was somebody chayshah that the guy didn't do
still
it?
love you.
Fine. Sarah. So you're saying if you say it's choivas habayis, that maybe each house.
If you do have two houses, you might.
Saying Masamas, I don't remember. I think it's discussed. I have to check it out.
The bias, what's a bias? A bias, you still have done. All the machine bias, you know.
No, but if
What
you
is it, the bias?
what if
All
you
the
rent
other
it out?
bias,
What if you rent it out?
She'ain loy, not ein loy. She'ain loy.
All the machine bias, you know.
Ain't a bias.
Is nicht prat.
What is
He
convoys?
can be
Yeah,
tremendous.
exactly.
The fact that he has a house here, homeless, is tremendous.
Okay. So the Sfas Emes takes it. So we got into the shayla we said before. So he said on the hiddur mitzvah, why can you make a brach? Because that's like kanas chazal. So now, the shayla you say takes a shayla step further. What if you lit the first candle and you didn't have enough? It was the second or third night. You only lit one candle because you didn't have any more, and then Mitamalson brought you more. You weren't expecting it. So now you're going to add the next candles. So could you make a bracha on that? Because that's mahadim in a mahadin. Mahadim in mahadin is your moise if you add another candle every night.
In other words, you didn't have enough candles to light three the third night.
But that's the old.
So what's the problem?
So when you light the next candle, when you add more candles, you make another
He
bracha.
only had one. Then
Night, he made a walk.
Can you make a bracha on the hiddur?
Oh, you're saying
That's the
on
only
the third night he lit
on the
one?
third night,
He didn't have
made
more.
a bracha on one.
Or he made a
more
mistake.
candles.
He thought it was only the second night. He lit two, and really it was the third night.
And then you want to go and add, so you add in the...
Yeah. So could he make a bracha on that? He didn't have him.
Now he's being the kind of mahadrim in the mahadrim.
No, there's a whole question. No, there is a question in the question.
It's a question because you don't know. So I'm telling you, you can't.
Absolutely not.
So if
Might be the answer might be that.
if lechatchila you had in mind to light three, just if you got to light the third one and you did it later, so then you don't make a bracha because you had in mind, and when you made the bracha, you just forgot to do it. But if you didn't have in mind to light the third candle and you remember later,
Because you didn't have it.
you didn't have, or you
Now
thought
you
it was
have
only
it,
the
it's
second
all
night, or you thought it was only the second night. So could you make a bracha on hiddur mitzvah? So he brings up the shayla. He says, "Alfiza yesh la'ayin b'mahadrin min ha'mahadrin ishachach b'lal gimel v'hedlik rak beis." He only lit two candles. V'achar kach niskar im yadlik oid achon the bracha. Should you do with a bracha or not? Ihav did to mitzvah gemura. Do we say that it's a mitzvah gemura part of takanas chazal? Ein mag kamei demashma mihadem mevarich. Just like we see that by Mahadin, like every person lights their own candle and they make a bracha, even though make our din they use for the first person. So you see that you make a bracha on the hiddur mitzvah. So afagad kvar yatsa bener ishu beisa im kain near the kachoya hamitzvah mahadrin. So this was the mitzvah im kain mahadrin nami hachihu. I was say if by the din of mahadrin never can make that bracha. So he goes back and forth. He doesn't pass. He doesn't give sack to halacha. The Magen Avram, he says, "I Magen Avram Sim Tafresh Aleph." Over there, the Magen Avram brings from someone b'shem the Rambam that if he didn't have in mind to make a bracha on the next candles, he didn't think he was going to have. He only thought he was going to have one, and then later someone brought him. He brings down b'shem the Rambam that you do make a bracha. He brings down from the Rambam that you do make a bracha. You make a bracha on it. Because I'm not. And
It's between relying on yourself.
the Eliyahu. Don't worry. Someone argues. We're getting there.
But the Amstel's pet peeve,
So there.
he's done.
So the Eliyahu also passes like that. But on the other hand, you have a lot of farking the Mefarshim. He says Uba Machzis Shekel. When he quotes, he brings that Magen Avram. So he make a bracha like he asked, and he says, I don't understand it. Like, you can make a bracha on a Hiddur Mitzvah. He's very bothered by it. The Prima Gadim, they all ask, how can you make a bracha on a Hiddur Mitzvah? Also the Pri Chadash also, someone has asked a Shaila that
He just says ask the question, but did he give a reason? What's the reason why you shouldn't make a bracha on Hiddur Mitzvah? A mitzvah is if you make a bracha on a mitzvah, what's the Hiddur Mitzvah?
You made a bracha on a mitzvah. Now you're reaching
Yeah,
a level.
but the shaila is only when you didn't have it before.
How
If
about
you had
have
it
a
in mind,
kosher
if you had it,
esrog?
if you just didn't do it,
If you had a stam in mind,
I barely have a kosher esrog. I make a bracha. Then you go and bring me up a huda.
no, that's not the same. That's not the same. That's not the same.
You did the mitzvah.
Not the same. He did the mitzvah already. But then over here, he said he didn't do the mitzvah. No, he didn't. No, but there's another mitzvah. There's no two mitzvahs over there by esrog. Over here, there's two mitzvahs by Chanukah. There's two mitzvahs. There's the regular mitzvah and the hidden mitzvah. There's no hidden mitzvah by. There's a hidden take a hidden esrog. Not a hidden take to do it twice.
so
Do you understand the difference? No,
the
serious.
Pashtus Satira, it's the way to find. For the Pri Chadash, someone asks in the Shaila, and he says you don't make a bracha on it. And a lot of Achrinim also say that. But the Pashtus way to find for Ayla, how can you make a bracha on a Hiddur Mitzvah? So Pashtus is like the way the Sfas Emes explained. It's not stam a Hiddur Mitzvah that you decide you want an Iser Esrog. This is a Hiddur that Chachamim were Mesakin. It's a Hiddur that the Chachamim made. So a Hiddur that the Chachamim made, that you can make a bracha on. That's probably what also comes up to this is you can make a bracha on a minhag, right? On halal, you can make a bracha. The minhag is can make a bracha on halal reish chedash. You can make a bracha on a minhag. So it probably also ties into this a little bit. The hiddur is not any worse than a
Who
minhag.
says this? You can. Magen Avram.
The Magen Avram brings the Shein that I'm like you do make a bracha.
You could?
He brings the Shein the Magen Avram. What's the psak la halacha? So it's not. I think it's not the Kiva Eger brings a Shaila. So he wants to be makel. He's mitzaref another two sniff in the hakel. Why you can make a bracha? He brings up two other points. He brings up the machlekes Magen Avram the Pri Chadash, and he says, but there's two other real sniffing why you can make a bracha. One, he says, what if you forgot? If you forgot to make a bracha on your tefillin before you put it on.
On what?
If you put on your tefillin and you forgot to make a bracha, or you're eating in the sukkah and you forgot to make a leisha b'sukkah, could you make a bracha in the middle? So as long as it's still on, you can still make the bracha because you're still doing the mitzvah. The mitzvah is it's not a one-time mitzvah. The mitzvah is nimshach, for that it's a continuous mitzvah. So as long as you're doing it, you can make the bracha. So he says maybe I'm Minator. You could also say the same part.
You can make a bracha right away.
Okay, on Shuldik, right. I think his Shaila, on Shuldik, the Kiva Eger Shaila was different. Yeah, you're right. Kiva Eger Shaila was that he forgot to make a bracha. He take it.
I'd make a bracha on the oil.
Yeah, on Shuldik, yeah. Like, question of Kiva Eger was he forgot to make a bracha at all. So this Shaila, if you make a bracha but you didn't light enough candles, and only later they brought you and you didn't have mind those candles, it's not some machlekes, and I don't know the psak is, but some of the other Shailas. What if you forgot?
There he did already the whole mitzvah. There he did the mitzvah already.
So,
then,
he made the bracha.
and he's not doing anything more. Like this sukkah is mamshech essen, and every time as you eat, darf machen a bracha. Now every time has to be a bracha while you eat.
Also,
Every time you go out of the sukkah,
beginning, I'm still eating. Not once he eat, and August, but it's finished. He did the whole thing.
every
Or-
time you go out of your
yeah.
sukkah, you go back into your sukkah 20 minutes later. You make another bracha.
Depends if you had in mind.
If you didn't have in mind,
You did or you didn't?
you didn't. You went to your sukkah. You
make another
lunch.
bracha.
You made
Yeah.
Only in your
bracha in sukkah in your sukkah.
And you had in mind that
went-
you were done.
You're finished. You bent.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
went inside.
Yeah.
You come back 20 minutes later. You,
You
have to make another
yeah,
bracha.
yeah.
So here you're saying you come and you light an error. You make a bracha on the first candle. You think you're done. You have no more. You go. You eat lunch. You eat dinner. Whatever it is. You come back 20 minutes later. Someone brought you some candles. You make another bracha.
Oh, you finished all this.
But this is only a hiddur mitzvah. This is only a hiddur mitzvah.
The mitzvah you finished.
The mitzvah's finished.
By
So
sukkah,
now the hiddur mitzvah. You
the,
The question is, you make a bracha on Hidden Mitzvah.
So the Kiva Eger, the fifth Maramakim, he brings Shaila. Aderech Shalasei b'misha hedlik ner Chanukah b'leil ches. That's the eighth night. V'shachach levarich al hadlaka. So al hadlakasa. So here it's different. He forgot to make the bracha at all. So it's a little. So the Shaila is different. V'rak koydem shedlik kulan, but he remembered before he finished lighting all the candles. Could he make a bracha? So it's a little bit different. He's gonna light more candles, but he remembered in the middle, but he didn't light yet.
What's the
difference?
what's the problem?
Some people make the
He
bracha.
didn't make a bracha.
First candle, you
He already
already
did the mitzvah.
He didn't make a bracha.
No.
But he was already ate
You
the
ate to the
mitzvah.
mitzvah.
He was already ate the mitzvah when he lit the first candle.
Listen to what he's saying. You're not listening.
At Yitzhak, once he finished the three, he had the mind of three. And he lit it.
Right? So what does he say? So,
Because one candle's Yitzhak.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not after the 8th night, even the 3rd night, I think.
Yeah, this was the Shaila, yeah.
Okay,
So he says, nearly, the Birchas ala Nisim v'shechiyanu, im ira kein belel echad belel aleph, after miyasha hidlik haner, gamar mitzvahs hadal kalsa, even as on the first night and there's not nothing else to do, still he said, become looking mevarach yisam. He explains because mitzvah that the bracha shechiyanu isn't dafka on hadlaka. If these two brachas, if you see a menorah in the street, you can also make these brachas. So memela,
What did you just now say?
if you're walking in the street and you see someone's menorah, you can make these two brachas, the shechiyanu and
Without lighting it?
without lighting it. Yeah, the last two brachas, not lahadik no you can't make, but the others shechiyanu and what's called alanissim and alanissim that you can make. Yeah, even if you
Even after he did it once, he can do it again.
because if you didn't make the bracha, yeah.
If he did it all.
Once he did it.
No, we're talking about you didn't.
Yeah,
You
he did.
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, then he does make the bracha. If he sees it in the street, no, then he don't because you already made the bracha. So he goes on. So what about lahadlik? So now he goes on. So earlier, so he brings all the machlik. He brings these machliksim. He brings machliks in the pri chadash. So could he make a bracha on the hiddur mitzvah? And then he also brings up the svara that just like buying in the sukkah, as long as you're in the middle of doing the mitzvah, you didn't finish you're still doing the mitzvah, you didn't finish it, you can still make a bracha as long as you're eating in the sukkah and as long as you're wearing the tefillin. So he wants to between a few sniffing. He wants to say he could be making. He says im kain. Let's finish. Let's read it right. Im kain minin danidan betzir of hani svaras. Betzir of these three svaras that what Aleph das el yirabah the mevarach al hiddur. El yirabah the magen around that you could make a bracha on the hiddur mitzvah. And Beis given the mikri shihu mitzvah and meshach hadal kasam. And the whole time that it's being lit is still considered the zman of the mitzvah. Yishleim ad mikra ever las yasam. So it's still considered like you're making the bracha ever. Since you didn't finish the mitzvah yet, and Gimel, you also have daf sapaiskim that ilay beirach evalas yasim mevarich achar kach. There's also machlekes if you didn't make the bracha evalas yasim, could you still make the bracha afterwards? So, but sit of this shit is that you couldn't make the bracha even not evalas yasim because I near at least make menit and ditan divarich. They have these three sniffing lahakel. You can make a bracha. You could.
Excuse me, sir.
If
and nog in bieden. Just how about the nice and then from the salad. And I'm just at that time. Now one eats some business is only that make another book.
In the sukkah?
Yeah.
If you never left the sukkah?
And I love my favorite
But being in the mitzvah, being in the sukkah is also part of the mitzvah.
Still in the sukkah?
Being in the sukkah is also part of the mitzvah.
You haven't left.
I don't know, Mashkaf Reishin, that's what makes sense to me.
Sukkah is considered a house. No, it's a house.
Yeah, I'm saying the mitzvah is everything. The mitzvah is everything. You're not dafka to eat. You only make a bracha on the eating, but just being there talking is also a chelik on the mitzvah.
Why are we
comparing to do it? Because that's what he brings a dimyan to. That just like by sukkah, you can make a bracha, even though you already started eating, but you're still in the middle of eating. You're still in the middle of doing the mitzvah. therefore you can still make the bracha leisha b'sukkah. So too by the menorah, since you're still.
But that's the shiloh over here. And that's the question of Gimel. That the third thing is that even if you did the mitzvah already, can you make a bracha?
Yeah.
Okay, so on that part you mean?
No. Also the second prat. The first one question is that you already did the mitzvah. The second prat is that could be it's not considered you finished doing the mitzvah.
By Chanukah he did the mitzvah already.
But it's a continuous mitzvah. You're saying as long as it's lit, it's a continuous, just like the whole time you're sitting in the sukkah.
Right, that's not the same as Chanukah. Chanukah is not a continuous mitzvah.
He wants to say it is. He wants to say that the whole time it's lit, it's like a continuous mitzvah. So this is the Kiva Eger says when he had these three sniffim lahakil, he says he could be mekel. But this is to make a bracha. Mekel either way. Mekel on bracha shein tzircha. And so another shayla that comes up is what if you lit all the candles? You lit all the candles and you forgot to make the bracha. Could you still make the bracha? So over there, you only have two sniffim lahakil. You have the fact that maybe there still is a zman of the shiuhi mitzvah, the mitzvah didn't end, just like eating in the sukkah, and also maybe you could be semich on the shittas that you can make a bracha even not even lasiyasan. So in the Shulchan Aruch, Kiv Eger on his Gillian over there, he says tzarich iyan. He says he's mesupik, he's not sure, and he sends you to Magen Avram in Hilchas Shabbos. So what was he talking about over there? So the question was, they had to go to a chuppah on Friday and they weren't going to have time to come and light candles. So the question came up, can you light the candles before you go or only make the bracha later when you come back? Later when you come back on Shabbos, you make the bracha. You'll be Mekabel Shabbos later. You'll make the bracha on it later. Mm-hmm. So he brings such a shita that I wanted to... What?
It's too early.
She didn't want to be Mekabel yet. It was too early, and she didn't want to be Mekabel Shabbos yet. Okay, and it was too early.
So that's the question. So it's too early. It's not a chiyuv. It was never a chiyuv then.
So
she's not going to have.
But you never had a chiyuv. When she let the candles with no chiyuv.
So the Magen Avram over there brings down a shita.
I have the question. Say, wait. Can't you wait for me? Perhaps I have answer.
So he brings. So he brings one shita that he brings a shita that says that she can light me b'idiyim and she'll make the bracha later. But the Magen Avram is bothered by this. He says, "How can you make? You did it earlier. How can you make a bracha on the name of Shabbos?"
If you like the Chanukah candle,
because you already did the hadlaka. How can you make a bracha later?
If I like the Chanukah candle at 2 o'clock,
she's coming back later.
So what? If I like the Chanukah candle at 2 o'clock, I'm not yotze. And if I like the Shabbat candle at 2 o'clock, I'm not yotze either.
And the trial is if it's still burning later.
If it's still burning later, that's the question. If it's still burning later, can I make a bracha? Because I was not yotze then.
So the Magen Avram he brings machlikas l'gabi neir Shabbos. Could l'gabi neir Shabbos, if it's still later on Shabbos when it's still burning, could he make a bracha on it?
Yeah,
and why not?
He brings one prayer. He brings a shita that wants to say you could, but then he questions it. How can you make a bracha on it?
But I was never yotze before. So why can't I make a? You said the only time I can't make a bracha because I was yotze, but I was never yotze.
Here he's not saying you lit early. On the Chanukah menorah, he's saying he forgot the bracha after he lit them off.
The farmer should put them out and light it up again. Make a bracha.
You know, time. Shabbos ready.
Why?
Shabbos
you already ate the mitzvah. Kaf sayin zakukula. Halacha is kaf sayin zakukula. If it went out, if the candles went out, you don't have to light it again.
That's when you lit it on time.
You're saying on Shabbos. Well, she's coming back later after Shabbos.
You're saying if you lit it early, why can't you just put it out and light it again and make a bracha?
You're talking
if you lit,
but that's Shabbos.
Oh, the Magen Avram's shayla was you lit it earlier on Shabbos and you're making the bracha later on Shabbos. Our question is on Chanukah. So Kiva Eger is comparing these two dinim, just like you see in Hilchas Shabbos is a machlekes whether you could still make a bracha while the candle's lit if you lit it earlier. So it could be. So he's not sure about on Chanukah also. Could you make a? Do you say as long as the menorah is lit, you can still make a bracha or not?
No, but what do I
so in the tshuva,
shut it out and light it again.
but you already ate to the mitzvah when you lit it. The mitzvah, you, what? Yeah, you ate to the mitzvah.
Once you lit the first
You put on
candle.
The ate to the mitzvah is not a bracha.
If you lit it
You took it off. You found
we
it.
talking can light it
Two things, Shabbos and Chanukah. Don't mix with them.
If I took it off already, you put it
No,
on.
so you lit a Chanukah night. But
why can't you
Yeah, you say, yeah, why?
because you already answered the mitzvah.
When he did it, was not
He did it in the proper time. He did it in the proper time. He did it in the proper time. He did it in the proper time.
He did probably. Oh, but he didn't make a bracha.
He didn't make a bracha. So do you say the whole time that it's still burning still considers man mitzvah? So you see in Hilchos Shabbos there's machlekes whether the whole time is still lit, could he still make a bracha? So he's not sure. Kiv Eger's not sure. So in the tshuva when you have 3 sniffim lahakil, of there says he can make Sai, maybe you can make a bracha on a hiddur because you're still lighting another candle. And Sai, maybe you could say that as long as it's lit, it still is man mitzvah. And also you can say you can make a bracha b'as yason. But if you don't have if you didn't live it, you already lit all the candles, so then he's mislipik. He's not sure if he could be seimach on this, if he could be seimach on this itself.
Being mefaris in the mitzvah is one mitzvah, so then as long as it's still lit, it's still the same mitzvah, it's still part of it.
You're saying so it's a continuous mitzvah.
Everything is 2 separate mitzvahs, 2 separate obligations.
Saying this is presuming nissa, so the presuming nissa is happening.
While
and what's by fine in Eir Shabbos, it's mishum shalom bayis, it's mishum the whole time it's lit. There's in the mitzvah also.
The Pina Shabbos comes in, you walk in the Pina Shabbos, she's there the whole Shabbos till the end.
It's mishum shalom bayis that you shouldn't trip, you should be able to see. It should be.
That's it.
Saying maybe so he's Kiva is Mesufik. He's not sure if it's the same thing applies here. He ends up with the tzarachiyim.
These days it's more important than there's a lot more arguments.
So this is.
How about if in the sukkah, is sukkah and benched, and remain in the sukkah, you leave in the sukkah. Then remind us of 20 minutes ago, I benched with it, and then made the sukkah, make the sukkah without eating.
So that says could be Ken Zainish, unless you're staying there for a very long time. I'm not sure. Ken Zainish. It could be you can. Ken Zainish. Oh, so and by the one more word. There's the back to the earlier machlekes, the Gabi V'Yinig Bracha on the Hiddur Mitzvah, on adding the next candles. It says the Rebbe wants to say that it could be it's totally on the 2 Eifan. And what's the reason for the machlekes? What's the reason for adding another candle every night? One reason was Keneged Yamin HaNichnasim, and the other reason is Misan Mailim Mekreitesh. So what's the chiluk between the two? So the Rebbe wants to say that it's totally that the Mahadim and Mahadim, they add another candle every night. Is that a Hiddur in Neiros Chanukah, or is that a hiddur bechlal in mitzvahs? If you say that the vart is because the Ma'im Mekadesh Veimeridin, so it's not something specific with Hilchos Chanukah. It's a kolos like a vart. Whenever you do things, you have to be Ma'im Mekadesh Veimeridin. So Ibazai, so also here, so it's not something specific with Chanukah. Ibazai can sign that on that they maybe you should make the bracha on this hiddur mitzvah hading ner shel Chanukah because it's not something because this hiddur that you're doing, it's not something which is intrinsic with hadlakas neiros Chanukah. But if you say that it's connected yamim hanichnasin, yamim hayetzin, the days are coming out, so it's a prat in neiros Chanukah. You're trying to show how many days the nest happened for. It's a part of the pirsumi nisa that the nest went for a certain amount of days. I would say there's more of a svara to make a bracha on it because it's a chelik of the mitzvah. So this is first of all, you have machlekes can make a bracha on a hiddur mitzvah, and then the Rebbe brings up another word. Also, this hiddur mitzvah, is it a hiddur in hadlakas neiros Chanukah, or is it a hiddur bechlal in hanhagas adam?
My Mekaris goes on every mitzvah, so
right. So Eivazai can say, so why should you make a bracha on hading neiros Chanukah? It's not a vart in neiros Chanukah. Yeah, so that's.
What's the conclusion?